Hello and welcome to video 3. In this video I am going to explain to you what a BSP check does. I've broken this video into 5 parts. First one is just the overview. Second will be showing you how to use the settings. Third will be the sandwich bar, which I'll explain in overview. Part 4, the heat maps, again overview. And part 5, looking back at the day's races when in BSP Check. Okay, let's get started with the overview of BSP Check. First thing you must be in BSP Check is logged into Betfair. So basically all you do is click down there and choose the country. You can use United Kingdom for everything except Sweden and Romania. So if you're anywhere besides Sweden and Romania, you can just click on there. Click login, obviously after you've entered your Betfair username and password. Agree to the terms of Betfair, and then you are logged in to Betfair. Now let me go through each of these and explain. I am using the gold version of BSP Check, which allows me to look at 3 heat maps at once and any one of the sandwich bars I wish to look at. The only difference between gold and silver is in gold you get 3 heat maps and the automatic ability to put second favourite price in there from 2 for them instead of manually having to do it as you would in silver. So that's the main difference between gold and silver. Okay, so this is probably the easiest program we have to use. All you have to do is select the time of the race, click on it, and it will load that race and all the data to do with that race. And as the day goes, that's all you need to do. If you come in here and there's no date and time and you are logged into Betfair, all you have to do is refresh and that'll update the times for you. Down here we have the filters. This is what we call the sandwich bar. We call it a sandwich bar because basically we want today's winner sandwiched in between the top and the bottom here. So today's starting price is $4.47 at the moment, depending on where that goes. That's where we want the sandwich bar to be. So that's the sandwich bar. There's the highs that this race has ever paid. Then we go to the heat maps. Again, in another video, I'll explain exactly what you're seeing here. And then you've got your settings again in another video, and I'll show you what's happening there. So the runners are based on my settings, and these filters here are based on my settings. So that's basically a quick overview of BSP Check, and now we'll go into each individual item. In this section, I'm going to explain what settings are. Basically, this is your settings cog up here, and these I've got mine set to default. You can rename them to whatever you want. You can call them default, etc. Anything you call them, but basically, I just use the default, and henceforth it stays that color. Now what the settings are is basically just presets. So instead of having to come down here, cancel that for a minute, instead of having to come down here every race and say it's a 7 furlong handicap and there's X number of runners, etc. All you have to do is just have it in settings what you want it to filter by, whether it's plus weeks, runners, day of the week on, off, country, etc. So all it is presets. Yep. So if I'm in S1, this is my heat map, a sandwich bar for S1, and this is my heat map for S1. So if I had just silver version, all I'd see is this and this when I'm in S1. Then I'd see this, and if I was in S2, and then I'd see this and S3 if I was in S3. The heat map for sandwich for settings 3 and the sandwich bar for S3. As you can see, as I flick through these, watch what happens here. All right, so it's turning on and off different filters. What this allows me to do is look at the sandwich bar for S1, which is basically a broad spectrum, looking at every 7 furlong handicap in GB, and allows me to look for the heat map. With gold version, I'm able to look at the heat map for S3. So S3 is at Wolverhampton 7 furlong handicaps. So it's more accurate when you're looking at this. But I like to see the whole outline here of what's happened to every race. So when I'm looking in here, I can see what's happened, and then I've got the sandwich bar for S1. So that's all that the settings do. They're presets that allow you to set up what you want to see for each setting. So in this section of BSP Check, I want to explain to you what the sandwich bar is, or SB as we call it. So sandwich bar is this bit here. And what these figures are telling you here, these percentages, are telling you is how far away was the fave price compared to today. So this is today's price. It's currently 231, and that's the projected BSP for this race. That will probably change as we're making this video. It'll go up or down and move up or down here. So when it was 234, the 10th favorite one, the 5th favorite one, and it paid 10s. So, and on that day, the favorite BSP was 1.3% away from what it is today. When it won, favorite one at 228, it was 1.3% away, but negative, so 3p less. So if it was higher, it'll be up here. If it was lower, the favorite price was lower, it'll be down here. And this will tell you just how far down. You can see them jumping around now as the price is changing. And this will change, to show you the percentage away for the favorite BSP on these days that these others won. Okay, this is telling you how far the maximum price that it paid when we're just looking at overall 3-mile handicap chases. If I go into S3, so I want to look at the sandwich bar for S3, then I can see the highest it's paid at Ludlow for a 3-mile handicap chase. But I like to keep it on S1 because I like to see all of this. This video is not to show you how I read them. I will do that in the training video. I'll show you exactly how I look at them and what I want to see before I have a bet. But for now, I just want to explain everything in BSP Check. Now these percentages here, right? So in total, we have 251 races that matched a 3-mile handicap chase. But we're only showing 20 of those on screen. But we give you the percentages for the 250 and the 20. So over the 251 races is 27% as won, the favourites won, and 47.4 favourite and second have won. And finally, the outsiders have won 52.6. But of the 20, in other words, close to today's sandwich bar, today's starting price, we've got 55% of outsiders have won, 45 fave and seconds, and 35% of faves. So basically what this is trying to tell you is where in the today's BSP has it moved more likely to an outsider or more likely to a favourite. So as you can see, as a group, only 27% of these favourites win. But today in the sandwich bar, we've got 35% win. Notice first and second don't change that much, nowhere near as much as 8% here. So we have a lot more favourites win when we're around this BSP. And that is everything you need to know about the sandwich bar. So now let's move on to the heat maps. The heat maps are a graphical representation of your sandwich bar. So this is the sandwich bar for S1, and this is the graphical representation of that sandwich bar. Let me explain these two first, these two percentages at the top, and they're set to default, which is 20% and 10% on the right here. The one on the right is telling you if something is close to the price of another. So in this case, 5th and 6th highlights the row pink to tell you 5th and 6th are the same price. So if we go and look at 5th and 6th, we've got 77, 68, and 78. So they're within 10% of each other. And so is 8th and 9th, which was 157, 163. So that is what that, so you can just see it's changed, updated, and now you can see 8th, 9th, and 10th are all very close to the same price. The reason that you have this is if you see that you should be backing the 6th favourite or the 7th favourite and it's a pink row, it tells you that the prices are the same. So, you know, they could be 7th could be 6 or 6 could be 7. So make sure you cover those when you're placing your bets. So that's the 10%, paints the row pink. If the next favourite is within 10% of the price of the other favourite. Now, the one on the left here, the 20%, is telling you if it's green, it is within 20% of the favourite price when it won. So the fifth favourite here, favourite we're looking at, let's go to S3, so we're looking at the same thing. So this is the graphical representation of this sandwich bar. So the favourite was 159 when it won. Today it's slightly less, but the green is because it's within 20% of the price of the favourite when it won last time. So it was 159, and today it's 12% higher than 141. So it stays green. If it's outside the 20%, it'll shade them. So these other two up here, the other three, are outside the 20%. So henceforth, they get shaded. Okay? So if I wanted to see if 50%, then it would turn all those green. 10%, only that one would be green. So, but our default is 20%. So the shadow is outside 20% on the percentage side here. Now the tops of this, the percentages along the top, tell you how far away the price is from when it won. So when the favourite won, it was 15% higher than what it is today. So we can see that the favourite was 159, it's 142, 15% higher when it won. Now let's look at the fifth favourite. The fifth favourite was 2019 when it won last time, and today it is 102. So it's well over 80% higher today than it was when it won. If it was lower today than it was when it won, it would be up this end, right? So if it was 100% higher, it would be here. So today it's 18, and when it won was 100, it would be up here. And so you could see quickly how close today's prices are to when they did win for that favourite. So that's basically your sandwich bar, your heat map. So the heat map for spotting faves that are close together, for spotting them when they're irrelevant really to the sandwich bar, so they're so far away that they're not really of relevance. And finally, is the price close enough today to bring them into this range here? In this section, I want to show to you what a lot of people make the mistake of. Is basically they look at a race and they don't play it for whatever reason, or they play it for whatever reason. As you can see, I did play this race and made £8.14. I was hoping for something a little bit higher, but there was so many in here. But I'm going to explain that in training, why I played it. But what I'm want to explain here is while the race is on, RaceStatsApp, BSP Check, gets its number of runners directly from Betfair. So there's 12 runners here. And this will update if it went down to 11 runners, 10 runners. This would automatically update until the off, and update all the data relating to those runners. Now I'm going to come back here in a couple of seconds and show you what happens if I come back and look at this race. It'll look at 13 runners, not 12. So when you come back, if you've played a race or not played a race and someone's posted something saying, I played this, and you saying, oh, but my sandwich bar doesn't look like his, or my heat maps don't look like his, it's because you haven't updated the RAN. So during the race, we get the actual runners. After the race, we revert to what should have run. So take a good picture of this, take a good note, and then we'll come back to it in a second. So now you can see that the race has been updated with the winner, and there's 12 runners. But now RaceStatsApp is looking at the data that it had before the racing started today. So when we load the races at the beginning of the day, we take the number of runners that are meant to run this race. And you can see everything's gone to 13. So if you want to go back and see exactly what that looked like before, then you have to go and change the runners and then play it, and then it'll look like what it did at the off. Okay, so that's a trap. We one day will hopefully be able to update the pre-race runners with the actual little run, those that ran. But again, we still, if Betfair API doesn't feed us that information for some reason in any race, you will still need to make sure that you are comparing runners to runners. Okay, so that's just a trap for young players, and remember it when you're going back and looking, that are the runners matching what actually ran.